Hey, welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith with. It's the interview series presented by WFPK at WFPK.org. Consequence and the Consequence Podcast Network. Thanks as always making your way here and checking out the series. Hit that subscribe button while you're hanging around. I do 3 new interviews every single week, doing every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So it's a great way to keep up with your favorite artists and discover some new ones. iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, NPR, WFPK.org, YouTube for the video versions, or anywhere you get your podcasts from. Subscribe to Kyle Meredith with. And it's me, Kyle Meredith. Today, I get to talk with Nico Tortorella and Xavier Clyde. We're going to be talking about City on Fire. It's the new series from Apple TV Plus, and I'm going to read some of this. First off, it's done by Josh Schwartz and Stephanie Savage. They did Gossip Girl and the OC. Family saga and music-driven tale of young love with an ensemble cast. In fact, I've been talking with plenty of them on this series already so far. Originally, it was a novel done by Garth Risk Hallerberg, and it follows an NYU student who was shot in Central Park on the 4th of July, 2003. So that sets the tone, right? New York, 2003. There's the music that we've been talking about, all the bands that came out of that era: Strokes, Stripes, Interpol, Yeah, LCD, Radiohead. That's all a part of this. Also, Nico's character, he actually plays in a band in this series. He's was a lead singer of a band. And the music's real. The music is real. So we're going to be talking about the music. It's Xavier's very first production ever, big production, I should say. So I want to hear about that as well. And what the big stories they're trying to tell are. I mean, we talk about class, we talk about race, we talk about queer relationships, all that's and a whole lot more. Let's jump into this. We're talking City on Fire. It's Kyle Meredith with Nico Tortorella and Xavier Clyde.
Hey, Kyle.
Pleasure to meet you both. See you both on here. Congratulations on City on Fire. Beautifully told, beautifully acted, beautifully shot, and had me on guessing and on the edge the entire time.
Thank you.
Yeah. Xavier, I figured I'd start with you. This is your first big production, right?
Yeah.
Killed it. Yeah. Crushed it.
Generic question, but what's the experience been like?
It's still something that it's going to take a lot more than a 15-minute interview to get that experience into words. Like, man, no, it's something that you get there. It's kind of like Mercer. Like, I had a dream that, I wanted to be doing this one day after you discover it. And it's just a level that you strive to get to. And then when you finally get there, it hasn't set in. Even like still doing these interviews and everything and having these just things with all these beautiful, beautiful people, it still doesn't feel real to me. I'm still waiting to just kind of wake up back in my apartment in LA and be like, oh, all right. And I just keep working for it. But no, that whole time shooting last year was really just something that I really needed at that moment with these people it was just the perfect situation for me coming into it, having this beautiful human being as my partner for most of it and just bringing me up through it and really, really making me feel like I'm in the place where I belong.
Totally.
So...
And it's like still happening in real time. Like this is
happening.
Xavier's first real press day too.
Yeah, it's just a lot of firsts, a lot of stuff happening, and so I'm enjoying the ride while it's here because you never know when you're going to be fortunate enough to be in this position again. So I'm really, really fortunate to be here.
Really beautiful to witness. He showed up such a pro and just like continued to deliver constantly, and really a dream partner in all of this.
Well, and seeing you all here, it makes sense, and the chemistry you have with your characters. But at the same time, I would question so many times, like, what brought these guys? I mean, they're so different from each other. Did you all think about that? Like, how did they get together?
Yeah, for sure. I think in so many ways, Mercer is the opposite. They are this like yin and yang. And, I think William is constantly trying to find something different than what he's had in the past. I think, given his family life, where he comes from, like he was like, I'm going to leave all of this behind and go discover something else. And like there is a version of that in his relationship with Mercer as well. There's this addiction to newness constantly. And that may have been the first thing that triggered this relationship between the two of them. But then there was Mercer, who like is just the most lovable, loyal character that keeps him there and makes him want to be a better person. Yeah. It's hard sometimes, but like it's there.
Yeah. But to see both of you all just in this state of like, it's like a raised state the entire time. Like it felt like that would be exhausting. do you all carry that with you when the cameras are off? Are you that type of actor?
Yeah. If you're someone who's you're really putting yourself into your character is simply like you're a vessel. So you take on these emotions, these, really just hard mentalities of your character to, truthfully portray that on camera. So you do carry some of that with you after the cut, because you poured so much of yourself into the character, into your partner, and it's just this wonderful opening of walls.
Yeah.
You don't want to hold anything back for fear of you're not giving these characters the truth that they deserve. So as with a crew cast like this, you wanted to really fully commit to that, so that in turn, brought some of it home with you.
Even if you don't want to bring it home, on a subconscious level, energetically, like it definitely follows you. There is a trail. I think what's special about TV is that everything is happening so fast. So you just like constantly have to switch it up and just keep moving forward. But like then there is this like big tail that follows you,
Yeah. Well, Nico, for you to play an addict, who and you get different versions of yourself too. You get to play. It feels like multiple characters.
It does. It very much does.
Yeah, like how did you want to approach that? Because especially on the addiction part, like you don't overplay it, and I feel like that does happen from time to time on film.
Thank you. I am all too familiar with having troubled relationships with spirits. And it was very important to me from the beginning of this project that I brought a sense of truth to William's relationship with the drugs on this show and made it about William and not about the heroin. And I think that that's a hard thing to wrap your head around, especially if you like aren't familiar with addiction and substance abuse. But the drug is always just an extension of everything else that's going on. And I wanted to focus on everything that was unraveling inside of William.
And to tell the stories, because there is a story of addiction, there is a story of race, there is a story of queer relationships. What were the conversations? I mean, because I guess what I'm getting to is there's so many stories happening all at once on a series like this that it feels like it could fall apart, but these important moments stand on their own. I mean, how did you want to approach, telling these stories?
You let them breathe. Josh and Stephanie definitely gave those moments time to breathe and time to kind of have, this is an important theme. As you said, like there's a lot of story and themes going on, but that's life. There's always going to be something that relates to somebody, and so you wanted to get this wide range of like sort of things to cover, because that reflects New York and like what this world is. There's so many different walks of life that when they do intersect and mingle, there's a cause and effect to all of it. So definitely just allowing those moments to breathe, be addressed, and be represented on screen was something that was just like really important to fully tell it.
There was an interesting happening too with just timing. We shot the show, obviously, like still in the midst of the world's eruption and post-revolution. And there is a level of sensitivity to all of those things that you mentioned, whether it's race, queerness, socioeconomics, that like everything that is covered on the show. But this show takes place in 2002, right? And all of those conversations were entirely different than they are today. So we were having multiple conversations simultaneously on what is the impact of these topics and how can we best address them, and what does it mean to show up for the characters in the scenes in the moment, while also thinking about bigger picture. And it was really this like intense, interesting theoretical spiral that I'm always finding myself in, but there was like this real reason to unpack these things in real time, and we're still continuing to, you know.
To play in an era, to speak for the era, but to speak for the now. I mean, that's a great trick right there.
Yeah.
You know, the fun side of that is, since we're talking about, you know, those early aughts, you know, that's of all this drama, of all of this darkness, there's a fun part to it as well.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like what, like Nico, what's your connection to the music from that period?
Oh man. I mean, I was in middle school and I had just started working in professional theater in Chicago and hanging out with like cool kids in the city. And I was like right when I started going thrift shopping and going to like underground shows in the city. And that period of time was really like my initiation to the world, to art, to music, to fashion, to all of these things. It was the beginning. So to be able to go back and recreate music from that time period has been such a dream. I mean, so many days that I wasn't on set shooting, I was in the music studio really figuring out who this dude was, discovering his voice in real time, which is something that we don't always get to do in television. Everything's moving so fast that like there's not really a lot of time to rehearse, but I got the time in the studio and it was like I heard music for the first time all over again. And to be totally honest with you, like I'm still in the music studio full time. I haven't left the studio. Like it's a whole new love that was discovered on this show. And to Josh and Stephanie, I'm forever grateful.
Yeah, and there's gonna be a vinyl release of the music from this, right? That's what I hear.
For sure.
Yeah.
So
did
excited.
And no, I know you know, with poetry, you've got that side of you. Had you ever fronted a band? Was this part of that new?
No, I mean, I wrote some songs in high school. I never took it seriously. I think every actor will tell you that at some point they've had dreams of being a rock star. But this show really allowed me to see it as a real possibility. And I mean, full disclosure, like I'm making music, I'm writing music full time now, and it has been one of the greatest joys of my life to discover new art at this point in my life. Also, like in tandem to having my first child, like I am fully connected to this life energy that like is creativity right now, and this show is an extension of that, and my heart is full.
Look forward to that album. I do.
Thank you.
Xavier, I'll put you on the spot. What's your musical lane? You know, here we are talking about everything else.
Definitely back. I will have to say, like, the music in the show was never really been my scene. But I definitely like had like a Linkin Park phase.
Come on now.
As like a kid, I like had like little aspirations of being a little rocker, kind of, Jimi Hendrix style. And it's just, I love the energy of rock, it's definitely something it's raw, and it really just speaks to the sort of like undercurrent of like emotion that people just have boiling inside of you. And it's like, how do you just get that out in such an unfiltered way? So I really appreciated the style of it. Music wise, like, rap's my thing. Kendrick Lamar himself is kind of like an inspiration for me musically. And it's someone that uses, their situation, what society has, made for us and what we're trying to make out of society. And he speaks to all of that through his music. So music in general is just something that is so crucial to any story, I feel. And, I'm just glad to be a part of something that puts it at such a forefront focus.
I will say just also the music on the show, post 9/11 music, what we heard and what we saw happen with the music industry, specifically in New York City, that is the music that we attempted to recreate on the show. And we're also seeing a resurgence of that post-trauma music happening right now, like post-pandemic music, what is happening in the industry, what's happening in art and fashion, like that. Obviously, I'm not comparing the two situations to each other, but the art that comes from trauma is always, for me, the most special, the most interesting. And yeah, it's alive and well. We continue to move forward no matter what, you know?
And to have been 20 years from that scene right now, like it's interesting. I mean, the nostalgia sets in automatically, you know, the 20-year rule, I guess, or something like that. But to kind of see what's going to come out of this era, I'm with you. I've been talking to those musicians, and I think there's some good stuff about to arrive.
I agree.
Yeah. It's been such a pleasure talking to you both. I love what you do with these characters, especially, by the way, Xavier, you know, having yours from the South. I'm in Louisville. We're not exactly the South, but, you know, kind of finding that entrance point there too. Congrats on this series. I hope we get so much more of this story, and thank you both so much for taking the time to talk about it.
Thank you, man, so much. Thank you.
And thanks to my guest. Also, thanks to you for checking out the episode in the series. Before you get out of here, hit that subscribe button. Again, you get 3 brand new interviews every single week. New one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at right here on YouTube, or of course anywhere in podcast land, including iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, NPR, or WFPK.org as well. A great way to keep up with your favorite artists and discover new ones as well. Then after that, actually head over to WFPK.org. That's where I do a show Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's an hour full of song premieres, music news, anniversary spins, bonus interviews, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern at WFPK.org. Consequence has your music and film news. You can also find me on the social media spots, Facebook, Instagram, mostly on Twitter. All 3 of them, the address is at Kyle Meredith. Do hope you like and follow along. That does it for another edition. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time.